answers. I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. When you go to church. When you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And my fellow citizens, the golden age of America begins right now.
So we're supposedly in the golden age of America. Okay. As things wind down and this year on the Gregorian calendar comes to a close, it's amazing to see how fast time has just passed by. 2025 has to be the quickest year on record for me. I don't remember how a complete year went away, but here it is. I mean, it was prophesied to be this way. The thing about it is that the way society is, it's not healthy. We move so fast, and so much information is barreling towards us from different places. We live in a mind control net that those who are doing the programming are very easily able to steer the masses towards whatever direction they desire. This world works in news cycles. What's a news cycle? A news cycle is the continuous, often rapid, media process of covering a story from its breaking point through public reaction to when it fades and is replaced by new events. And so they just throw all these different new events at us in different news cycles. We react for a little bit, then it leaves the news cycle and we forget about what we were just reacting to because it created a new event that we should react to. Some stories mean nothing and are just distractions. But other stories are part of a larger narrative that's playing out. And because we don't have a truly trusted media that will help us put it all together, we're left completely reactive as they move us through their entire narrative of their story. We never got to take a step back and look at the big picture and have a clear perspective that allows us to be proactive more than reactive. News cycles make us reactive. And as long as we're in their cycle, we will always be controlled. This year of 2025 was an extremely eventful and transitional year. There was so much that happened since the year started. It's really hard to just get a full scope on what really occurred this year. I mean, it feels like ages ago, but it was just 1 year ago that this guy was our president, and this lady was acting like she was going to be his successor. Now, mind you, they did this transition well by making this man drop out of the race right in the middle of it, and then allowed him to really drop out of the spotlight. So 2024 was more about Kamala than about him, which allowed him to be erased from our memory. I mean, has anyone seen this man since? It's all a game. Anyways, my point is that they transitioned Trump into office, and the news has been nonstop because he had an agenda. There are so many different changes that took place in the world as a whole during 2025, and I believe all of it will matter as we enter into 2026. If no one takes the time to do a recap for you, you can easily be sucked into their agendas because the news media, it doesn't connect dots for you. Yes, there have been a lot of events that happened in 2025, but I believe the biggest news is the least considered amongst the population. And being that all the agendas that are forming in the world right now lead up to these major agendas, I think it's important to really recap what really happened in this world and what it means for 2026. The truth is that the infrastructure has been put in place to make the masses that survive the war and come and collapse, They will all be slaves to a digital system that already exists. It's here right now, and it's being formed as we speak. There are many things I could bring to your attention as 2025 closes out and this new year comes. But I think that if I remind you of this system that has been built before your eyes, and most of you truly consider that none of this has been a part of your real expectations, it can really help you focus on the real risk ahead and that you need to be ready for change and not live according to their mind control agendas. So I'm going to discuss the real change that started in 2025 that most people have not considered. Let's begin. Okay, so the best place to start this conversation is the real start of the year, and that is when Trump took the oath of office.
From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. Just a few months ago, in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that.
So this man said that God spared his life to make America great again. And then he said that they cannot forget their God, and they all clap for him. Though they have not said the name of their God, if he had said that he believes his God spared his life to make this country great again, anyone reading the Bible knows that the God he is referring to has nothing to do with Yahuwah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he basically set the stage for the rest of the year by explaining that they were working for the God of America. And all we need to do is look at the back of the seal of the United States to know who that God is that they say that they won't forget. You have a nation that literally pledged allegiance to Satan right in the public view. That's how this year started. But anyways, right after the speech, he got started immediately and set the whole tone for the agenda of his presidency. And this is what he did.
Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense.
On that day, he signed major executive orders. Now, I obviously won't go over them all because he did a lot, but here are just some. Unleashing American energy, which was about oil. Withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization, which is about the world order. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and prefacing, which was used as a tool for the Negro leaders to make a racial issue. And then other orders like securing our borders and protecting the American people against invasion, all that having to do with immigration. And later on in the year, we saw major protests and ICE agents being put out all across the country, a lot of chaos going on. But these executive orders were just enough to spark controversy out the gate with the opposition. And the divide that the country needed to have, it was solidified by race and immigration. And so while the public was distracted by all this opposition to these things about race and DEI and immigration, he really engaged with the real agenda that he was put in place for, the transition of this country. But most people don't have a clue because they're so triggered by DEI and immigration and all these other things. But what did he do? The next day, after all of this, he announced the major news that defined the future of this country. But again, the citizens don't really understand this whole technology yet, so you really understand unless you researched it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible.
This was the next day. If you remember, at the inauguration, there were a whole bunch of tech leaders that were just waiting for the inauguration, like they were happy about what he was about to bring to the table for them. It was very weird. I've never seen it before. But after they started introducing things to the agenda, you understand why they were there for support. But this was the first thing that they introduced. And so in the mainstream, we're not hearing a lot about the Stargate itself. But the companies involved in Stargate, we have been hearing a lot about them all year. Stargate is just a separate company that these companies created. The companies involved in Stargate are OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. Stargate is set up as a separate company controlled by them. And in reference to Stargate, OpenAI, on their own Twitter post, they said this: Stargate will not only support the reindustrialization of the United States, but also provide a strategic capability to protect the national security of America and its allies. First off, they're talking about the reindustrialization of the United States, which goes back to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And when you hear them talking about protecting the national security of America, you have to really think about what it is that they could be talking about. Now, I've spoken at great lengths about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. But if you don't really understand why this company could be protecting the national security of America, you don't really understand what's ahead of you. Anyways, as OpenAI says, ARM, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Oracle, and OpenAI are the key initial technology partners with Stargate. The build-out is currently underway, starting in Texas. And here's the thing, it's been rolled out, but you have to personally pay attention to what they've done. And so this is what they reported in September.
Mel, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle have just unveiled 5 more Stargate sites, stretching across Texas, New Mexico, Ohio, and then an undisclosed destination in the Midwest. We're also getting a revised spend here that brings the size of the initiative to nearly 7 gigawatts and more than $400 billion of investment over the next 3 years. Now, these blockbuster deals have already fueled massive stock gains, but one of Oracle's new CEOs told me that he is not worried about the market overheating.
We see a broad-based demand across a huge swath of the industry. So it's not just from any one individual place that we're seeing this demand coming from. And as this kind of continues through, I don't worry about a bubble because I see committed demand for it. And also, the other thing I would say is, Oracle's not just in the infrastructure business. We're also in the application business, so we're also consumers of this technology.
Now, those comments echo what I heard from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, who told me that this scale of construction is the only way to keep up with AI's explosive growth.
And this is what it takes to deliver AI. AI, unlike previous technological revolutions or previous versions of the internet, there's so much infrastructure that's required. And this is a small sample of it.
He says it's a small sample of it. Unfortunately, they don't inform the public exactly what this change is going to really look like. The only way you can be prepared is if you study for yourself. They are investing billions in mega centers for artificial intelligence infrastructure. And if you don't understand what Web3 is or you don't understand the metaverse, you're completely behind, and they intend for you to be their slave. It's right in front of your face in what they're doing. But the general public keeps moving like none of this has anything to do with them. For a history of living in capitalism, where corporations have only cared about earnings, when you see them invest billions into infrastructure that is created to replace humans, it's absolutely crazy how people ignore and act like their future is secure. And the thing is that they aren't hiding it. So you see that this was announced the next day after Trump's inauguration, and you're seeing that they already opened one plant. Trump has never hidden the agenda either. Why does he need to? People aren't paying attention. He's speaking right out in the open about the agenda. 3 days after his inauguration, he does a virtual speech with the World Economic Forum and spoke about his ties to their agenda. And he spoke about what he is going to do. And in that speech, he spoke directly about his plans to implement the fourth industrial revolution in America. Now, of course, he didn't use those words, but if you know the agenda of the fourth industrial revolution, then when he spoke, you knew what he was speaking about. This is what he said in that speech.
I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
So he plans to make the U.S. the capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. And then that same day, he signed executive orders to this effect. None of this, again, is done in secret. It's right in our faces. But because people don't understand these agendas that have literally been spelled out in our faces, people don't truly understand what's happening.
And this, David, is?
Yeah, this is the crypto EO. We're going to be forming an internal working group to make America the world capital in crypto under your leadership.
Which is really going up, right?
Absolutely.
All right, David, that's for you.
Thanks, sir.
This is an executive order establishing a presidential commission, an advisory commission on science and technology.
Good. Explain that a little bit.
The basic idea is to get together top people from government, the private sector, technology industry, as well as educational institutions, to make sure that America maintains its leadership position with respect to science and technology development in the years ahead.
Good.
And the problem is that people hear these words, and because they're waiting for the government to tell them what it means for them, they simply just keep it moving, while these people are literally showing you their intentions of making people their slaves. But if you don't understand how this would mean anything to you, this is why Elon Musk has been talking about universal basic income and the fact that people are no longer going to be working.
But what to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. If you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless?
The point is that all of this infrastructure has been set up and established right in front of everyone. If you aren't aware or paying the slightest attention to it, when they implement their transition, do you think you'll be ready and know how to navigate, or will you just be reactionary? And so in understanding what has happened in this country, if you do not understand the biggest agenda, you're not ready for 2026. Trump said, artificial intelligence and crypto capital of the world. Crypto meaning digital money. And since Trump came in office, this is what they have been working on. So in February, this is what David Sachs, who is Trump's AI crypto czar, this is what he said about the plan for digital assets.
in ensuring that the U.S. remains at the forefront of innovation and digital assets. The president said in his executive order in the first week that it's the policy of his administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the economy. Financial assets are destined to become digital, just like every analog industry has become digital, and we want that value creation to happen in the United States rather than giving it away to other countries. I want to say additionally, we're excited about working with both the House and Senate on stablecoin legislation. I know Senator Hagerty introduced a bill today. This stablecoins really have the potential to ensure American dollar dominance internationally, to increase the usage of the U.S. dollar digitally as the world's reserve currency, and in the process create potentially trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. treasuries, which could lower long-term interest rates. This was a week one priority for the administration, and we're excited that our counterparts in Congress are equally committed to ensuring American dominance in digital assets. I look forward to working with each of you, and with that, I want to say work with each of you in creating a golden age in digital assets, and with that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Scott. Thank you.
It's an exciting time to be an American, and as David said, the golden age has begun, and the good news is it's going to get better. I'm excited about what we will accomplish for the American people. I'm excited about the synergistic approach that we're taking in the House and the Senate, with the White House leading the way. Next, you'll hear from Chairman French Hill.
Crypto can be an esoteric subject, and it is good to explain it, to kind of demystify it, because I think once you understand that, you've kind of got the cryptocurrency itself, like Bitcoin, but then what it really runs on are blockchains, which are just distributed ledgers. It's really a new type of decentralized computing platform, and there's a lot of things that can be built on that computing platform. So in any event, we're happy here to provide those resources to help explain it, both on Capitol Hill and beyond.
Clearly, they are moving with an agenda that the overwhelming majority of the United States public is not ready for. Now, here's the thing. While this country is divided on pretty much everything else, in July, they were able to pass bipartisan legislation with no problem. In July, the Genius Act was signed into law.
As lawmakers work to try to understand what cryptocurrency even is, efforts to regulate it are already underway. Last week, in a bipartisan vote, the Senate passed the Genius Act. It creates this regulatory framework for stablecoins. Okay, what are stablecoins, you may ask? Stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency that's value is pegged to an alternative asset like the US dollar or the price of gold. Earlier this week, I spoke to Chief Strategy Officer at the financial technology company Circle, Dante Disparte, and his organization supports the Genius Act.
So let's start with what's probably an easy question for you, but something that I need explained to me, and I think a lot of Americans do too, which is, what is stablecoin?
Yeah.
What does it do?
Well, great. It's a great question, and I'm glad you're asking it. A stablecoin, what we offer at Circle is a stablecoin known as USDC. It is effectively a dollar uploaded onto the internet, which allows people to send, spend, save, and secure their money in an internet-connected way, which could be down to your mobile device, how you pay people internationally, and of course, lots of questions about the U.S. payment system very broadly. And so stablecoins or digital dollars is probably the simplest way to describe it, but not all of them are created equal, which is why we need U.S. laws.
How does this differ from cryptocurrency or other kinds of currencies that we've heard, or is it the same?
Well, in some ways, stablecoins were born out of one of the original challenges we saw with cryptocurrencies, which was that a lot of cryptocurrencies were hyper volatile, or they subjected the end users to risk. Stablecoins, as the name suggests, were designed to be stable, and so in holding their price stable, for example, to the US dollar, they could be used as a medium of exchange, they could be used for payment systems, and they could be used more broadly in financial services. And so that's where the innovation has really born and come of age over the last 6 years.
So it is a form of cryptocurrency, but it is associated with the US dollar.
The vast majority of stablecoins in circulation today reference the US dollar. Probably 90% of them reference the US dollar, again, to varying degrees, but nonetheless, that's the core product. And stablecoins benefit from blockchain technology as the underlying ledger on which they're stored and sent. But at the end of the day, it's all about being able to send dollars outside of banking hours and to send dollars the way you and I might interact with WhatsApp or messaging platforms. It's about device-centric user control is what this allows you to do with your money.
What exactly would the Genius Act do?
So the Genius Act is a really, really important piece of legislation that has just come out of the Senate. It enjoyed deep bipartisan support. More than 18 Democrats supported it in the Senate. And what it would do is create a level playing field in the United States for dollar-denominated stablecoins. The Genius Act would create the legal category. It would call them payment stablecoins, and it would allow banks, non-banks, and effectively credit unions as well to compete, either at the state level or all the way up to having a federal charter. That's just the domestic piece of the puzzle. The Genius Act would also ensure that there's an America First framework for this really important innovation around the world, because the dollar is such a critical currency, not only in this category of activity, but also as a payment instrument, as a reserve currency around the world. So the Genius Act would give us a national framework that we could export to other countries.
So without this piece of legislation, what's the consequence of how it's all operating now?
It would address national security issues by creating a level playing field to banks and other regulated companies with anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism, and other security issues that matter to the country.
So without this, I mean, it's kind of operating as the Wild West here.
Well, in some ways, it isn't, in that companies like ours have always abided by pre-existing rules in the United States of America, but it does put the U.S. entities at a disadvantage to offshore companies or to other countries who in many respects might have clearer rules for regulating U.S. dollars than we do here in the United States. All of Europe, for example, has a very broad set of rules for this entire market, including broader crypto asset activity, but the U.S. doesn't yet. And so we're the outlier country right now, and there's a very simple choice which the Genius Act gives us the chance to answer. We either lead or we are led. And on this matter, the president has recently issued a tweet calling for action and calling for the Genius Act to come out of the House on a clean basis and to get passed into law. And we have an opportunity to do that, even perhaps ahead of the 4th of July. To be able to render a dollar on an internet-connected device is a powerful breakthrough innovation, but it has to be rules-based. And so there's no better model of protecting the role of the U.S. dollar in the 21st century than federal law. And so I think seeing how unified Congress is very encouraging, because we haven't necessarily had a lot of political unity in our country, but around this matter, there's a unity of purpose which is rare.
Rare indeed. Well, we will stay tuned to whether this makes it out of the House, but as you mentioned, the president's backing might ensure that it does. Dante, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
So he was basically explaining that the United States was protecting the United States dollar by making it a stable coin. I played all that just so you can get a little bit of education about what stablecoins is. Just understand, shortly after this, in July, Trump signs the Genius Act into law.
The Genius Act, they named it after me, and I want to thank you.
The first crypto bill in U.S. history was just signed into law. President Trump signed the Genius Act, which regulates a kind of cryptocurrency called stablecoins. They're tied to the value of other assets like the dollar or gold, which makes them more stable compared to other crypto like Bitcoin, which is known to be volatile. Two of the biggest stablecoins are Tether and Circle. One Tether equals $1, and one Circle equals $1. So why the Genius Act? Well, it creates a regulatory framework which requires people who issue stablecoin to comply with anti-laundering and sanctions rules. This act likely paves the way for stablecoin to go mainstream and to be used for digital payments. And you'll probably see big Wall Street firms and other non-financial companies embracing it. But skeptics worry the Genius Act doesn't adequately address the risks. One expert tells CNN if the assets backing the stablecoin drop in value, it could cause the equivalent of a bank run. But the Genius Act is now law of the land, with President Trump delivering another boost to the crypto industry.
In the truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile, and that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that? The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one for one with real U.S. dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And, you know, you have this little group called BRICS. It's fading out fast. But BRICS is, they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar, and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%. And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up. They said, leave me alone. No, we're not going to let the dollar slide. If we have a smart president, you're never going to let the dollar slide. If you have a dummy, that could happen. Like the last one, he would, if you ever asked him about the dollar sliding, he would have no idea. But we can't let that ever happen again. This will increase demand for U.S. treasuries, lower interest rates, and secure the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency for generations to come. The reserve currency is so important. You know, if we lost that, that would be like losing a world war. We can never let anyone play games with us. And that's why when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly, I will tell you, for them. They won't be gone very long. I don't think they'll even do it. They're virtually afraid to meet. I also remain fully committed to my pledge never to allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in America. It won't happen. My first... Thank you.
And do you understand all this? I play all of this to make sure you understand the theme. They are putting in place a type of digital currency. You see, they can't replace the dollar, but them backing the cryptocurrency by dollars is the equivalent to it. Please understand, regardless if you understand all of the jargon and all of what they're doing, please understand that the dollar and the current financial system is completely under attack, and they're completely changing it right in front of us. And this is what this is all about. They're changing the system. And before this current system completely goes all away, this is the mainstream lie that they're using to act like they're fighting for it. I mean, listen how he's lying here. He spoke about the BRICS.
Why, when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly, I will tell you, for them. They won't be gone very long. I don't think they'll even do it.
But the BRICS, they met just a couple months after. If you do not recognize that this is all about a major disruption to our way of life in this world, you need to really start to look deeper. 2025 was just the setup year. They set up the infrastructure, they put the laws in place. Like he said, if the United States dollar loses the world reserve status, it will be like a world war. Understand what's coming in 2026. And so understand, what I'm explaining to you is that, ignoring all the other news that happened in the world, you should understand that money is now all working to be digital. And this is not just the United States that is happening in. Actually, the United States is behind. This is happening all over the world. This video was made 2 years ago in 2023 by the European Central Bank.
The euro is much more than our single currency. For over 2 decades, it has helped bring stability and growth to Europe, embodying our shared values. But in an ever more digital world, our euro needs to evolve. Let's get ready for a digital euro. We will still have our banknotes and coins, but a digital euro would mean more choice at our fingertips, offering the highest privacy standards and making it accessible to everyone across the euro area. A digital euro would also strengthen Europe's autonomy in the digital world, making our payments sector more resilient. It could become a reality. Let's embrace the digital era with a digital euro.
You see? And just 2 years after this, in October 31st of this year, Christine Lagarde, European Union Central Bank President, says this.
Hello. I have good news for you on the digital euro front. Today, the Governing Council has decided to move ahead on the next and final phase of the preparatory work for the digital euro. The other good news is that on October 23rd, the European Council has asked us and all those involved to accelerate the process so that we can roll out the digital euro as early as possible. This is important because as much as banknotes will continue to circulate, we want cash to be in the form of digital euro as well, so that you can circulate banknotes and click cash with the digital euro. More work is going to be done in the next few months, and if we receive the approval by the European Parliament in the course of 26, we'll be able to pilot the digital euro as of 27. And if the pilot is conclusive and positive, it will be a formal rollout in the whole of Europe in 2029. This is a big project because the euro is our currency, your currency. It brings us together. It's a symbol of trust in our common destiny. So off we go with the digital euro in that next and final phase of the preparation.
If you notice when you're hearing them, they keep wanting to say that they're keeping the banknotes. But that's just for the mind-controlled public to make them feel secure that this is not that big of a change. Here's the thing. None of this is new. Like I said, the United States and Europe are actually just behind. China has introduced digital currency 3 years ago.
Thank you. Can I pay digital yuan?
Here at the Winter Olympics, China has debuted its digital yuan to foreign visitors and athletes. Cryptocurrencies are banned in China, but it's still a strong supporter of blockchain tech. The eCNY is a centralized, cash-like digital currency that will mostly be used for retail payments everywhere, at restaurants, stores, and even on the train. So here's how it works. There's this eCNY mobile app you use to set up a digital wallet from China's central bank PBOC. Then you transfer money into it from your bank account or cash at the bank. Now it's time to shop.
I'm gonna get some snacks. Thank you. Can I pay digital yuan? Okay. It worked? Or? Okay. Yay. Great.
My colleague Alan, who's also here covering the Olympics, tried it out in the cafeteria.
I'm about to pay for my weird-looking spaghetti using the digital yuan. Okay, choose a renminbi.
In April of 2020, China became the world's first major economy to pilot a digital currency. As more people adopt the digital yuan, the government will have greater control over financial transactions. It can observe how money is spent in real time, since digital currency can be traced and recorded accurately, which also raises some privacy concerns. But for now, most users don't seem too worried.
信息的话也都无所谓的，就是反正中国的保障还是都挺好的，而且有你这个信息，它也不会，因为它是国家嘛，它不像个人，它不会用作于什么其他的用途。
Overall, it's pretty easy to use, so we'll see if other countries follow. Will the U.S. create a digital dollar? We'll see.
Again, here's the thing, and this is what I want to be clear. None of this is new. This is not a conspiracy. It's just something that you, the general public, have not been really trained to consider. Understand this. Only 3 countries right now have fully launched central bank digital currencies. That's the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria. This is a video from the International Monetary Fund speaking about the Bahamas 4 years ago.
we didn't start with the idea of a central bank digital currency. We focused on eliminating as many obstacles as possible for persons having access to the equivalent of a deposit account or a mobile wallet account to conduct transactions.
Hurricane Dorian made landfall on the Bahamas with wind speeds of 185 miles per hour.
The most powerful storm ever recorded to strike the island nation.
The Sand Dollar was launched, its pilot program in Exuma. Then we saw the launch happen in Abaco, which was great because that island had just suffered Hurricane Dorian, and that allowed some banking and some transactions to happen there.
If you live on an island that has just been hit by a major hurricane, then you may not have access to an ATM or bank branch. And the Sand Dollar can help you because it can be operated via mobile phones.
The Sand Dollar is the digital version of the Bahamian currency. It's built to be used on the mobile wallet platforms that our financial institutions are introducing.
We distribute the Sand Dollar to payment services providers for further distributions to institutions and merchants.
The amazing thing about Sand Dollar is that there are no fees or transaction costs. So if I need to pay one of my staff, I can do it right there in the moment. They receive it literally within seconds.
When COVID happened, I wanted to move away from handing and touching money from others for the safety of myself and my family. So using Sand Dollar just helped me be more safer and feel secure.
In many of our remote communities, there's very limited access to financial services on a daily basis.
It helps those unbanked members of our population who don't have access to commercial banking facilities.
As a partner, the IMF has been very helpful in bringing independent scrutiny to the process that we've undertaken and getting to this point. We are at a very early stage in the process of introducing the Sand Dollar. We need to leapfrog now and allow everybody to provide financial services through the digital channels.
It's convenient, it's digital, and I'm always on my phone anyway, so it only makes sense to have my money in my hand.
I'm excited to see where the Bahamas goes and how we flourish with the digital economy moving forward.
Now, let's be clear that the residents of the country probably don't even realize what has really been happening because life didn't fully change in full for these small nations. You just have to understand what they've been doing. Before you roll something out for the whole world to adopt, you want to see how it will work in real time. And that's all that occurred with these three countries. But in regards to digital currencies, over 130 countries, which represents 98% of world GDP, are actively researching digital currencies, with 72 in advanced stages, piloting or developing. There are two websites you can track this for yourself with. It's CBDC Tracker and AtlanticCouncil.org. I will show you information from Atlantic Council. This is the state of the world in regards to central bank digital currencies. Notice, the United States is in the other category because they can't outright just say that they're changing the currency. They're speaking around it. But it's very real. This is the world moving towards a whole new digital system. So what's my point here? You have artificial intelligence being the major driver of growth in the United States. And they're honestly just trying to play catch up with the other countries like China who are leading this conversation in a big way. Artificial intelligence is actually the only thing being spoken about really in the business world when you talk about change. But outside of knowing the company names that are the most involved with AI and hearing about their chips and the technology that they're using, you really can't get much information on the way that these companies plan to use this unless you research the fourth industrial revolution. I can show you all the other events that happened in this country and around the world. I mean, you have Trump deploying the military all around the country. You have the United States striking Iran with continued provocation to attack Venezuela at any time. You have tariffs that have shaken up world trade. I mean, this year the Pope died and we have a whole new Pope. All of these things I could discuss right now and show the events. but there is nothing more in importance in comparison to artificial intelligence and crypto. And let me just explain why. Listen to Sam Altman when he is asked what should children be learning about in school.
What do you think kids should be studying these days?
Resilience, adaptability, a high rate of learning, creativity, certainly familiarity with the tools.
So should kids still be learning how to code? Because I've heard people say, don't need to learn how to code anymore, just math, just biology.
Well, I'm biased because I like coding, but I think you should learn to code. I don't write code very much anymore, although I randomly did yesterday. But learning to code was great as a way to learn how to think. And I think coding will still be important in the future. It's just going to change a little bit or a lot. We have a new tool.
He's very vague. His first word is resilience, though. Learning how to overcome through major challenges. This is what these kids need to learn. It's because he knows the world is done for these children. Let's talk about the children graduating from college right now, and then every other child that's following them all the way to preschool. What exactly is the future that they are being prepared for? Do you listen to the curriculum? What are they learning? Is school teaching them about these technologies? Only if it means them using it so they don't actually have to learn anything. It's actually more true that video games, social media, and television actually teach them more about this coming society than school. I mean, on the video games, they give you virtual currencies and all these things that teach you how to engage with the world that's coming. These children live online in their virtual world, like Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft, or whatever else these kids use. I don't know what these children play today, but I'm asking this seriously. Are any of you preparing your family for this type of future? How many of you even understand it yourself? Or what about you personally? For most people I know, their life has been devoted to this current way of life. It's what they know. But it's very clear that those at the top are preparing for a whole completely different way of life that most people are not prepared for. And here's the thing, it's not gonna be a smooth transition when this all comes together. It never happens like that. It will all be reactionary. And so all the other narratives in the world, like the wars being waged, the government shutdown that looks like we're about to happen again in February, it's all a part of the narrative and plan. And it's right in our faces. I don't know what they're going to do and how it all will be rolled out, but let me explain something. I come from a background in finance, and the rule of thumb is that if you're investing money in the trends happening right now, you're already too late. That's the dumb money. The real investments and real money is made at least 2 to 5 years before, at minimum, before the masses are even aware that something is being rolled out. If you're getting in when the masses know, you're already too late. So what I'm saying is that you're too late. Yes. And much more importantly, this system is not built for you to thrive in. It's built for you to be a slave in, you and your children. This year, everyone was reacting to the digital identity mandates that are coming and wondering what they should do. Because like the UK, they're making everybody have digital IDs. People wondering, is this the mark of the beast? And what are they gonna do? Here's the thing. In regards to the mark of the beast, you're thinking too far ahead. They're implementing a change in the world that is all about moving everyone online without any privacy and all control, and understand that's coming in 2026. All the agendas are about rolling everyone into this change. The point that I'm trying to make clear is that this world has changed. It's happened right in front of you. It's actually the priority of this current administration. And if you don't have this understanding in front of you as 2026 rolls in, you're not ready. There is an industrial revolution that they are implementing, and it will change everything. The way that the world worked before that you were living for, it doesn't exist. The only thing that exists right now is the method in which they are going to roll the whole world into their new system. That's the only thing that matters. Everything you're looking at is about the narrative that they are going to use to roll everyone into the new system. And you can't say it's a conspiracy because I'm literally showing you that it all exists. Let's be clear about something very much right now. In regards to this economy, they don't need you. They are replacing you. I mean, right now, I believe in 2026, Tesla is going to be bringing out their own robots, like that movie I, Robot.
Okay, hi. Can you do this? I love you. You know how to do that? Okay, what should we do? go running. Let's go for a run. Do you know how to do... Oh, you are Hawaiian. Okay.
People are going to have their own independent robots doing work in their own home. They do not need us for work in this society. So what do they need you for? The only thing you are needed for is for worship. They actually need your spiritual energy. They need to bring you into compliance in order to bring you to the obedience of the world that they are building. And once you are rolled into the system, you will completely be a Satanist. I mean, right now, they're pretty much rolling out Satanism to the whole world. One of the things that people don't see with this whole 50 Cent thing is that he is completely introducing Satanism to the masses. Everyone who's following 50 Cent and this whole Diddy nonsense, he is introducing Satanism in a very simple and subtle way. But I can speak more to that later. You have to understand the agenda in the game that's being played before you. They all speak like this world is all in conflict, but the whole world is moving toward the same change, using the same technology to implement the same system. This is all by design. For everyone around the world that's blind and asleep, they are being carefully steered into a system of control. But there are narratives that will be used to bring everyone into it methodically, just like you are methodically brought into accepting a solution that you knew nothing about. And so as you watch the world and hear about the wars and political dysfunction and the problems with debt and all these other things, if you have your eyes closed to the system that they built, then you are not able to see what is clearly right in front of you that all these events are leading you to. What I have given you is an overview of their plans for the world. And throughout all these plans, there is one thing that must be understood. This world that they are creating is a world made to regulate itself without regard of the Most High. This fourth industrial revolution is bringing about a complete change to the way that we interact with the world and the amount of control that we have versus how much control the system will have. The people that participate in this coming system will gladly give over their rights and their privacy for a chance of security, in order for economic prosperity, in order for them to receive their universal basic income, in order for them to believe that they are saving their life.
Hydra created a world so chaotic that humanity is finally ready to sacrifice its freedom to gain its security. Once the purification process is complete, Hydra's new world order will arise.
This is the world that is coming, and it will not come with an instruction manual that explains how to adapt. Every step of the way will be pushed and steered into it. And in order to save their life, people will conform to their system. When I see agendas like this, I think it's important that we all hold on to Messiah's words. In Luke chapter 17, verses 32 and 33, Yahusha said, "Remember Lot's wife. Whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life will preserve it." Luke chapter 17, verses 32 and 33. Because this world is going to move everyone through provocations of fear, there will be many that try to save their lives by conforming and adapting to the system, just trusting that the government will take care of them. And they will trust everything, and where they are leading and steering the masses, they will go. Very similar to what people did in 2021 when they took that unknown solution. They will do the same in all the different areas that this system is creating in order for us to all be fully trapped into their satanic world system. I made this video because it's important that people really understand the future in front of them and move in accordance with reality and not how you want to view this world. I know many people have different goals for their future. I always tell the same thing to them. They must understand where the world is going. The CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies are not living in the same world that the masses live in. They know the future because their companies are investing and developing it. And we are just being made to be reactive to adjust to the world that they are creating. I made this video so that you can make decisions about your future from a position of knowledge and awareness rather than being reactionary. These things are right in our face and they're waiting to implement all these changes. And the unwise and undiscerning will be led to destruction. As these things have been revealed to you, I encourage you to walk more in power and strength. We will all have a choice if we choose to take part in this revolution. Just as we had a choice in COVID, though we didn't like the options presented, we were able to make a choice to participate or not and deal with the consequences in both situations. The whole thing will come about again, and you will have to make a decision to follow the world or follow Yah. The rest of the world is going to be provoked into all this. And they could do this by catching people by surprise and making them reactionary, while also getting people to move who have very little faith. I don't bring any of this up to provoke fear into you, but to keep you in reality, because this system is not. Most people you know are living in completely different reality, and they have no clue. The most important thing you can do for yourself and your family is live in reality with no fear, but faith. So understand, my goal with this ministry is to keep the word as our focus and let the remnant stay grounded in truth and away from these agendas, because these agendas really are not for you if you do not attach yourself to them. So you need to grow yourself up in who you actually are and what you actually are in. Understand that what is happening in this world is clear.
I can't believe he just paid with his hand. Like, you just literally put your hand up and you're good to go. Like, that's crazy.
This is not conspiracy theories from 20 years ago. In order to bring the world into full satanic worship, they are going to collapse society, removing the old way the world used to work and bringing everyone online. And you will take part in a digital system of control where everything is recorded and monitored. The money that people have dedicated their life to will soon mean nothing, because they have created new money and a new financial system and a new economy that they will roll everyone into. And if you weren't prepared for it and you're hungry and you're desperate, you're going to do what they say. And that's just a matter of fact. And that's why, even though all these things are happening right in front of you, they are not preparing you for the change, because they want you to be reactive. So, as 2026 comes to start, as I have been warning, be prepared for war, internally and worldwide. It doesn't matter where you live, any country, be prepared for escalation and war. Please be ready for war and conflict. Also, please be ready for this system to shut down for an extended period of time, particularly if with this government shutdown. Be prepared for problems with debt. Be prepared for supply chains to shut down and for the shelves in the stores to be empty. Be prepared for cyber attacks and problems with the banks. Even if you're not physically able to make any kind of real changes, if you are mentally alert that these things are coming, when they roll it out and when they talk about it, it will not catch you off guard, and you will know how to spot liars and manipulators. Let me ask you, do you remember how we all got online in the first place the way we are right now? It's because of COVID. I don't know if you remember. They rolled out the new normal because of the changes after COVID. Be prepared for the narratives to be rolled out, and be proactive and not reactive. Be prepared to move away from the system. If you are dependent upon the system, you will be rolled into whatever they do. But if you already know that there's a time coming where you're going to separate and live independently from this system, when the change comes online, you will be ready. I expect 2026 to be a transitional year. 2025 was a transitional year. Trump was pushing major agendas, and then they just put the courts involved so that when the actual time for martial law and the military in the streets occurs, it was already legally approved through the courts. This coming year is going to be the 250th year of this American experiment, and there's major events happening in the United States. Please do not move oblivious to everything happening around you. And please understand that the dollar is dead. Fiat currencies are dead. If you're paying attention, look at the price of gold and silver over this year. Just look at what happened with gold and silver this year. We're seeing record highs in both. Matter of fact, just look what happened with silver just this week. Fiat currencies are dead, and they're telling you, they're showing you that they're dead. The fiat currencies mean nothing. Please do not be one that is still holding on to the past and refusing to understand what is ahead of you in the future. You might not be able to do anything financially, but if you are mentally equipped and ready to take on the challenge and you know that it's coming, you will not be one of the mind-controlled slaves that are reactionary when this all hits the fan. And that's the point. You need to know what's happening. You might not be able to do anything about it, but if you know and understand, you will not follow them when they're leading everyone to the pit. Your goal must be the kingdom. Again, the choices that will come will not be easy, and it will require confidence and conviction if you're to walk away from this revolution. But if you understand who you're returning to, the decision will be simple. You must know that you cannot be a coward or be faithless. It's prophesied that the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. It takes strength and faith to be able to go the other direction when the rest of the world is going the other way. But please know that it is something you must do when you are set apart. If you see all that they're showing us, you must understand that we are in a time of change that the world cannot come back from. You must decide to live for Yah now. Do not prepare your children for this coming society. Guard them and protect them and raise them up in the knowledge of our Creator and His Word. This world is going another direction, and if you are smart, you will open your eyes to it all and make sure you are not following it down the path it is leading us. Yahuwah has prophesied to us, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahuwah, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. All those who commit their lives to Yahuwah have a future. You do not have to be a part of the changes that are coming, but you must make a decision to live for and serve Yah. Now that you know about their plans, now that you see what they've implemented, the choice is on you whether you will be strong or weak, faithful or fearful. The world is changing. I mean, it has changed. But make sure that your faith in Yah does not. Be ready for the changes and be ready to not follow their path when the time comes. The decision is yours to make. Please, make the right one and prepare yourself for the blessings, because the kingdom of Yahuwah is truly at hand. Be ready for it and be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Okay, thanks again for watching. If this has blessed you, please make sure you like it and share it with others. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Yah willing, I upload every Friday. Also, please don't forget to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. Please continue to pray for this ministry. Your prayers and support are sincerely appreciated. As always, I want to thank you to those who have donated to this ministry. Your contribution is a huge blessing to this ministry and truly helps me continue on with this assignment. Your support is a blessing. I'm always humbled by it